You knew that wasn't your friend. You knew that wasn't your homeboy. You knew that wasn't your people. You knew that wasn't your homeboy, like Alicia Keys knew that Swiss Beats had a wife and she stole that lady husband. She knew what she was doing. So how she knew what she was doing, you knew that wasn't your friend, and more than likely, they knew what they was doing when they did it to you. Now, of course, there's always the double. What's the word I want to say? It's always the devil's advocate, I guess we could say. What's up, y'all? So, look, let me just go ahead and keep it short with you. Did you know that as of 2024, the United States has a literacy problem? 21% of adults cannot read, and 54% of them have been recorded and it has been documented read below a sixth grade level. That is a catastrophe. But that's where I step in. Now, I'm not going to teach the grown folks how to read and write. However, PSA, the ghostwriting solution, has now a new package. It's called the Literacy Liftoff, and it caters to 9th through 12th graders who struggle with reading, writing, and comprehension. This new tutoring service will offer vocabulary skills, teaching students how to literally write from the bottom, literally teaching them how to do an introduction paragraph, how to do a hook, how to do a conclusion, how to add a little razzle dazzle, and how to add their own personal touch to it. Okay. Now, you know what you're saying. Well, Izzy, that's what they go to school for. Absolutely. But as an ex-teacher, the teachers just don't have time. So this program has 3 different packages from 3 different sets of hours that you can take. So if you're an AP, a principal, the student who needs help, the parent of the student, or you just know somebody who needs the help. If you're in the Houston area, you can get in-person tutorials. But if you are not in Houston, there are also virtual options offered as well. So hit me up at my email, theprodigyperspective@gmail.com and or psathepodcast.com, and we will hook you up. What's happening, twin? It's been a minute. Now, it hasn't been a minute because you've seen episodes, but this is the first solo episode since the very first episode. So episode 1 and episode 13. And it's the first one. It's another time where I recorded an episode the day before it's due. So it's due tomorrow. But I'm here with you today. So, that's all right. I'm gonna send it over as soon as I'm done. But it's good to be back recording. Like I said, last week's episode, shout out to Nick Brancato, was the last episode I had on my files. And so I have to start back recording again. And now I've got, along with this one, well, this one dropped tomorrow, but I have 2 more I recorded that's sitting, and then I'm back on a spree of just recording a bunch of them. So those will drop how they supposed to drop. But yeah, again, we back. What's going on? And you seen the title, it's pretty straightforward. The title of the episode, when did you realize your homeboy wasn't your homeboy? And it's just that. We're gonna talk about some things. So I already went ahead and said the title, but also the meme. When did you realize your homeboy wasn't your homeboy? All right, it's very, very straightforward. All right. Inspiration. So me personally, looking back at past situations with friends and realizing that was my friend, and they never really even liked me. And a quote that I like, it says, the scariest betrayal isn't from strangers. The scariest betrayal isn't from strangers. All right. Okay, y'all, let's go ahead and jump into everyone's favorite happy hour. And for today's happy hour, we're going to do things a little differently. Well, I'm going to go a quick rant, but I also did something different. I asked people to send me their stories and tell me some things and some scenarios that happened to them that show their friend wasn't their friend. So we're going to read that in a minute, and we're going to give them anonymous names. But I just want to tell you, it's real quick. I've been saying the phrase since last season. The red flags was red flagging. You saw them red flags, twin. You knew that wasn't your friend. You knew that wasn't your homeboy. You knew that wasn't your people. You knew that wasn't your homeboy, like Alicia Keys knew that Swiss Beats had a wife and she stole that lady husband. She knew what she was doing. So how she knew what she was doing, You knew that wasn't your friend, and more than likely, they knew what they was doing when they did it to you. Now, of course, there's always the double. What's the word I want to say? It's always the devil's advocate, I guess we could say, where sometimes people don't be knowing what they be doing, and that's a real thing too. We don't get into that, but a lot of times they do. Let's get into my first story. So the first story for today comes from, we're gonna call him Z. So Z tells me that he went to Miami with a friend. He goes to Miami. Him and the Z is known for dressing. So Z always, he's one of those people who probably changes every time he come home and then go somewhere else. That's just how he is. His friend knew that. So he said the friend had called out when he was dressing, like, dang, like you changing so much. Da, da, da. But my thing is, you probably already knew how that friend was. So why you acting surprised? Long story short, Z said they went to one place and then he kept changing. So the next day, the dude, his friend, took advantage of like all the places they was going. They went to dummy places, and he said he had on like a simple fit. It was just like a t-shirt and some jeans, but he wanted to like really do it up. He like, we out of town, we thugging with our rounds. I want to really do it up. He said this man had him going to about 8, 9 different places, meeting people and everything else with that same outfit on that he knew he didn't like that. And he knew it was simple. And it was like, even if you feel like your friend is doing too much, me personally, I feel like Z was doing a little too much, but that's who he is. Why would you intentionally bring him around other people knowing he likes to put that ish on and change, and do it up, and he wasn't able to do it up? That's not cool. You know what I'm saying? So people know what they be doing. He then says him and the guy aren't cool anymore. So let me know what y'all think about that story. And honestly, this is my first time getting stories from people. I think moving forward, we're gonna make this its own section. When I have my solo episodes, if I remember to do this in advance, which I should now because I kind of like this. All right, now let me read the second story. It says, um, my car broke down at my hold on. My car broke down in my bro's spot. He left and came back. I was outside at 2 a.m. and never spoke again. So I said, dang. So he just left you outside, never even asked was you good. He said, nope, never said anything. I matched energy and ghosted. I said, did he try to reach back out? He said, like a year later, but about a girl he was trying to bag. She said she knew me. I never replied. So he tricked the friend and he said, what's up, bro? Need a job at FedEx or you good? He said, call right after. He said, wasn't even about no job. It was about the girl. I said, that's his way of trying to be back cool without even trying. I hate niggas. Then he lied about it. I said, people be guilty, but don't know how to apologize. What's your take on them stories? I think that people are crazy. But people in that case, people know what they're doing. How would you let your homeboy be broke? His car broke outside your house. You ain't say, "Hey, come in," And even me, like I like my space, but if somebody's going through something, I'm not gonna tell them they can't stay in my house, especially if they going through something. You know what I mean? Like that's a situation. And then the fact that he cut you off, you never talked to him again because you knew you was wrong. Knew you was wrong. What's your take on that? I think it's interesting, but you know. Either way, I'm solo, y'all, and we get to do my favorite segment. I said they all my favorite, but I really like this one because I just feel like we can't do it that often. I only done it once this season. I need to do at least 4 more times. Hint, hint, wink, wink. All right, let's jump to the next segment for today, which is the case study. All right. So now I got a few videos we're gonna watch. Um, and we're gonna go from there. Let's do it.
No, no, don't let me interrupt. You know what I mean? Dude's acting like he don't got a good one at home. That's crazy to me. Oh, I'm interrupting. I'm sorry. I'm Malik. I'm his homie. I'm his partner. I'm his faithful friend. Malik, how you doing? Hey, bro, let me holler at you real quick. She whack as hell. You really whack for cheating on your girl, bro. You got a whole queen at home. You know we going through it. I don't care what y'all going through. You know I'm trying to get at your girl's sister. It's bigger than you. Hey, what's going on? Bro, man, please. Bro, you cheating on his girl again. Hey, you cheating on your girl again? Exactly. Oh, you disgust me, man. Uh-huh. You know black men don't cheat. Exactly, man. You about to piss me off. What you smell like? You smell like infidelity. Bro, you smell like a cancer. He called your girl, bro. Go straight home for real, bro. Oh, my girl? Yes, bro. Ain't nothing but thoughts upstairs. How we hating? You got a whole queen at home. You know how many times I fantasize about hating your girl? What? No, her sister, bro. You know, that ain't the point. Come on, bro, go ahead and leave. I had to see pretty women make a mistake and he was about to.
Oh, well, hello.
How you doing? My man had a whole girl at home, but you know, I'm more of a faithful man myself. Serious about settling down.
Malik, right?
Malik, yeah, you got pretty eyes. Can I sit down?
Sure.
Let me get a drink.
Okay, so in that scene, we were able to see a double whammy, right? Wham whammy. How that man came through, basically dry hating on his friend, like, oh, you got a girl at home. Now he wasn't lying, his friend do have a girl at home, but you was really trying to get what he want. Then you made the joke like, man, I really like your girl too. But the thing with that is that's a satire video. We know what satire is, right? Satire is making fun of something with effort that things will change. That video was satire of one, going back to what I said in the beginning. The red flags always be there. We just be overlooking them. But in that video, that was shout out to them for that video because it was funny. But like the red flags be there. So you be overlooking stuff or you hear stuff that sound off and you thinking maybe I'm tripping, but you heard it. It wasn't your friend. It wasn't your friend. And he showed you. All right, we got another TikTok. Every video today is from TikTok. So let me share my screen and let's do it again.
Starts to resent or hate you within a dynamic because the reaction to your actions will not match your initial action. And what I mean by this is, have you ever had a scenario where you performed an action?
This is how you're going to know.
You can always tell when somebody starts to resent or hate you within a dynamic because the reaction to your actions will not match your initial action. And what I mean by this is, have you ever had a scenario where you performed an action and it was something minuscule or minor misunderstanding, but that person took that moment to tell you about yourself and they took it to a complete extreme and almost left you dumbfounded because you were like, how did we get here? Why are you making this big of a deal of something so small when it's only happened once? But no, that's what you think it is. You think it's only happened once, but this is a result of them bottling up emotions and them overflowing where they have to communicate because they cannot operate anymore with keeping things behind closed doors. And I want you to understand that this person is actively punishing you for every single thing that they let slide. And instead of seeking you out for context, they chose to take your actions out of context. You are getting punished for things that you never did out of poor faith or maliciously. But they don't have the emotional regulation to be able to speak up on things in the moment. So they allow things to boil over. I hate to say it, but you're nobody's punching bag. When somebody shows you these traits, I want you to get up and walk away because they will never be able to unlearn you.
All right. Now that one wasn't funny. That one's just real. And that's the case. People will show you that they don't like you. And me as a type of person, a big personality and like the things that I do, once again, I don't do everything right. But a lot of things that I do, I know for a fact are misinterpreted a lot of the time. And so they took it like this, but it really wasn't like that. And now it's this whole big old thing. And I'm just like, what we doing? Like, where did you get that from? Or like, recently I had a friend and basically I didn't respond quick enough. And they were under the impression that I didn't respond because they were asking me to do something. So that's why I didn't respond. And that's what it was. And they said, oh yeah, you didn't respond because you I was asking you to do something. I know how you are when people ask you to do something. And I'm like, that wasn't the case. But once again, there's nothing I can do. And before I go to the next video, let me even expound on that. How can you be cool with somebody that feels that you're a terrible person? How can you be friends with somebody like that? That they think you're a terrible person and anything that happens, you always wrong. It's always you did something wrong and all that. You in error like that. That I don't see how y'all can be cool. I don't see how y'all can get past that. I don't see it. Am I being sensitive? Let me know. Because a lot of times y'all don't be right. Now, if you right, as the kids say, you clocked it, then all right. But y'all wasn't right. So how can I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting. Let's continue. We still got a lot of episodes to cover. Another video. Let's watch this.
You can feel when people don't like you. They don't have to tell you. You can feel it. You can feel toxicity. You can feel haterade. Nobody has to tell you I don't really like you. You can tell it the way they shake your hand, the way they look at you. What comes from the heart goes to the heart.
Now that one was a shorter one. That was more of a motivation. We have one more, but yeah, I mean it's simple. You know when people don't like you, and the signs are always there. I really don't think we got to go too much in depth about that one because that one's kind of it's what it is. Okay, so now let's go to the next video for today. This one I really like because it was a nice breakdown. All right, share my screen, and it's the last video.
Like you, there will be a lot of hints that let you know. Here are 3 of those signs. Number 1, you are always at fault no matter what. Anytime something bad happens to you, they will always find a way to spin it and make it your fault. Dang, you got cheated on? What did you do to make him cheat on you? Damn, you got fired? I bet you was slacking off at work. When a person starts to dislike you, you lose your humanity. They stop seeing you as a person and they only see you for whatever issue they have with you. And that is why they never empathize, they only villainize. Number 2, you have a lot of small disagreements. It'll start to feel like everything you say around this person is debated. But if they hear the same point made by someone else, they'll agree. Because they are harboring these negative feelings about you, they start projecting those feelings onto everything you say and do. And that's why they always disagree with everything you say. Number 3, if you're in a friend group, they will support everyone, but they won't support you. When it's David's birthday, they're going all out. They'll make a post on social media, they might throw him a party, but when it's your birthday, you know what you get? So-and-so viewed your story. And I love this conversation because people love to say, it's just social media. Yeah, but people notice when they're being treated differently. They'll be supportive to everyone around you except you. I do want to say, don't worry too much about who does and who doesn't like you. Take a mental note so that you're not being vulnerable around these people. Most of the time, it is easier to cut these people off and just make new friends or start a new job. But if you have to be around these people, make a mental note. I really only care what people think of me so I can protect myself.
All right. I feel like that was the most intense one of them all. I like how all these videos had a range, but going back to it, like they celebrate everybody but you. You've been friends with somebody before, and it's like everybody get the big birthday shout out. You might get a little HBD, a little text here and there, but you don't really get what they get. These people, they reposting everything they post. They don't repost your stuff. They support this person. And let me speak on that real quick because I did have one homegirl that tried to say, well, everything is not everyone's thing. What that means is if hypothetically, like if somebody was selling a sex toy line, I would not repost that or support that, right? But if they're selling a t-shirt or something like that or a candle, I'm gonna support that, right? So I learned that. I saw that prime with me, like with my podcast. Everybody not in the podcast, the type of podcast I got ain't for everybody per se, right? But I did know some people might not repost my podcast. They did when I was selling belligerent tees back in the day. They was buying a shirt. So you know what I'm saying? So we have to keep that in mind too. I will play devil advocate with that. But in the same breath, I know people who again didn't support anything I did. But then it was people who didn't support nothing. So it just depends on what it is. Then some people who didn't support the shirt did, so it just depends. And then some people that did both. It's just, it just depends. But I will say the debated one, that is the one. That is the one. When somebody always trying to argue with you, it's some underlying tension there. And it's like, where is this coming from? I'm gonna put it on blast. I don't care. I had somebody at my house and we were watching a movie. And I jokingly said, I want to be in this movie and I want to be the character in that movie. The person said, oh no, you couldn't do that. You can't act. I said, well, acting is a skill. That's something you learn. That's a skill set. Like, no, you couldn't do that. You make faces and you couldn't be no actor. No, that you can't do that. And then he added to it and said, and oh yeah, and that guy, he's playing a role where he cares about people, and you don't care about nobody. I might tell you a joke, but I ain't gonna tell you a lie. Now, if I would have said it to somebody, they would have been doing a case study on me. But when people say stuff like that to me, it's all right. I don't get it. Are me and that person's cool? No, we are not. Will we be cool again? I don't know, but I'm gonna say what I really want to say. I'm gonna just leave it there because I'm only telling a story that did actually happen. It'd be different if I added some sauce to it. That actually happened. If he hears this, he knows it happened. So it's not like I'm, lying. I'm not lying. So yeah. Real quick, I have another picture I want to show y'all. It's a meme, and I'm gonna share my screen with it real quick. And I found it funny. It said, "What is the difference between finding out and realizing?" So as we see, old girls looking shocked, like, "Oh my God, I just found this out," and then the dude looking like, "Wait a minute." So let's go back and bring it back home with the friend thing. So when you find out hypothetically, your friend talking crap about you. That's when you find out, like, dang, homie been ragging on me, talking about me to all my bees, people telling them how bad I am and I'm this and that nerd. And the third, not nerd. And then realizing is when you be like, you may just have a revelation one day and you start putting two and two together. And then you like, what? That ain't my people. Why was I hanging with them this time? No, that am I doing? What Sandy Trim said, she was like, what was I thinking? I must have been out of my mind. Like, that's what it was. That's what it was. So keep that in mind. All right, y'all, let's move into the next segment for today. Another personal favorite because I can't do it on a regular basis. And this is everyone's favorite QT&A, which is questions that need addressing. All right, so for the first question I want to ask is, when did you realize your homeboy wasn't your homeboy? Me personally, that story I just told you, that wasn't when I realized it. It was so many things that they would do that I would realize, I'm like, that's not my homeboy. And sometimes you think, like, when we think somebody's jealous of somebody, we think they might be jealous of how they look, how they talk, how they act. Some people are jealous of, like, the clout you have. Some people are jealous of how you carry yourself. Some people are jealous of the confidence that you have. But I will say, a friend at one point, I knew they weren't my homeboy when anytime they would try to, like, bring me down. It's like when you're having a moment that seems confident and they try to, like, shoot that down, like, nah, like, they will market it as, well, I'm keeping you humble. Well, one, you're not Jesus, so you can't humble me. That's one. And two, somebody having confidence doesn't mean that they're not humble. But see, when you lack confidence, you see somebody that's confident in your mind, you think of, like, well, he look like this, or he dressed like that, or he do this. He shouldn't be confident, but you ain't confident either. So, and then for me, I take that real personal because I've been on both sides of the ball. I've had the lowest self-esteem, like in hell low, and then I've had high, so I've been on both sides of the ball. This is my favorite question. Have you ever had a homeboy that didn't like you, and do you feel like it was because of jealousy? Yes. So there was a friend, I'm not going to date it, but it was a friend that I've known for a very long time. And then they got a friend that they made this homeboy later in life. When I first met the friend was kind of standoffish and stank, and it took him a very long time to really warm up to me, like years. Then he finally did. And then I thought maybe me and this person became friends because he started to call me a friend. And he would be saying comments like, come on, Izzy, it's family time. Why you on your phone? I'm like, I'm looking like, you like me? So me and this friend actually developed a relationship. So I thought, but it would be things that they did that would always have me like, I don't think this is my friend. And it would just be comments and little jabs on my podcast, jabs on this. And a comment made one time, like, I don't see how you have a mental health podcast because you be getting on people. You be getting on people. Like, being ragging on people, talking about people. So I said, well, the purpose of this podcast, which I know y'all listen, is the purpose is to the definition of mental health is the study of how we act, think, and feel, right? And I say all the time, I'm not the expert, and I say I don't always make the best decisions, but this podcast is the antidote to the wrong decisions. And sometimes we know better, don't do better. we have conversations like this, real personal ones like this, or we have relatable ones with people like me, like us, or we pick the brain of the professional on camera. I was like, when I broke it down, he said, I'm high right now. He said, but you just made hella sense. And he couldn't have say nothing else. It was another time we were all somewhere and he tried to bring up that, oh, well, yeah, he supports Trump. Now, again, you hear me on the live stream. I really don't say it here, but if you listen to my live stream, I said several times, I don't support mainstream politics. It is what it is, right? But I said that, but I noticed it was like everyone knows that people will literally cut off somebody. People have cut off family members for voting for Donald Trump. So why would you have me around your group of friends and then bring up, oh, yeah, he voted Trump? You knew. Now, I was going to defend myself, and I defended myself very well. But it was like that. I'm looking like, like that was strange. It would be little things like that he would do. So finally, the severing of the relationship, which the middle friend who I'm still good friends with, he's never brought it up, and I've never brought it up to him. So I wonder if he knows. But when Trump got elected, I reposted a meme, which looking back, I said that in hindsight, I still would have posted it. But I think I posted a little too early just because it was too emotional. Everybody was going through, and I should have waited. But it basically was saying something like, if you're cutting off people based on this election, you're not more as mature as you thought. This man DMs me and says, this post is immature. I will never support no one who voted for Donald Trump. Lives are on the line. I didn't vote for Donald Trump. But I just said, because once again, when I realize somebody is irate, it's nothing you can say, it's nothing you can do. So I said, oh, okay. That man blocked me on every form of social media, and I have not talked to him since. And that was November, and we're in July. I also have not seen him. I'm interested to see how it's gonna be, because I ain't gonna speak first. That's just not gonna happen. But it was just little signs that he never really liked me. And I honestly think, and even with the friend, he told me that he would be, I don't want to say that. I ain't gonna say it. It's giving too much. I ain't gonna say it. I'll move on. All right. Have you ever clapped for your friend knowing they never do the same for you? Yes. Do you think your homeboy will support your success even if it meant to pass him up? Here's the thing. I do have homeboys that do, and I am a homeboy that does. But what I will say is, if people have open doors, and this is a spiritual conversation, everybody ain't going to catch it. But if you have open doors, whether you out here having a bunch of sex, drinking a lot, you are smoking a lot. Not saying I don't do my stuff, because you get what I mean. We all have doors that probably have open. Where you got some unforgiveness you sitting on. Those are doors open to the enemy. And I always have of the thought that when all them doors are open, because it's different, you got 1, 2, but you got probably 20, 30 doors open, and your friend doing good, I do believe the enemy can creep in with jealousy in that person. I do believe that. It may not always happen, but I do believe it can happen. So that's just something to keep in mind. The fifth question, be real. Are you mourning a friendship or finally seeing the truth? With that one, I was telling y'all about explaining. I have another one I'm going to explain, but I don't really mourn it. It's actually, I think I was low-key prophetic when I posted a picture of me and this person, and I had made a joke, and everybody thought I was serious, and it was years ago, but I was playing, and then it kind of actually happened. So I don't know. I got to stop playing, I guess. But what was I about to say? Yeah, I don't mourn too many friendships right now. I really don't. I don't know if it's just me being petty. I'm self-aware. But what I will say is, if it's meant to be, it'll come back. But with certain people, things definitely have to change. Have some definitions. All right. The first one, betrayal. The act of being disloyal or violating trust, especially by someone close. Discernment. The definition, the ability to judge well, spiritual or emotional perception to distinguish truth from falsehood. And then projection, a psychological defense mechanism where someone attributes their own negative feelings or traits to another person. All right, good stuff. All right, y'all. Now, let's move to the next segment for today, which is, what does this have to do with mental health? Now, according to Psychology Today, it says friendship betrayal and emotional impacts by people we trust. It says that according to Psychology Today, betrayal by someone close can radically deplete emotional and physical energy, shattering trust, self-worth in the process. When you discover a friend wasn't your friend, you may find yourself questioning every relationship that follows. And that's a thing too, because I think sometimes when that happens, it makes you a little more hyper aware. The second one says betrayal, a psychological analysis. According to the peer-reviewed study, betrayal triggers shock, loss, grief, morbid preoccupation, damage, self-esteem, self-doubting, anger, and even can mirror symptoms of PTSD or OCD, meaning a friend's dishonesty can impact you neurologically. And sometimes when these friends cut me off, I'll be mad because I'm like, I should have cut you off first. And I should have cut you off first because I knew you was trash and I knew you ain't like me, but I kept you around. So that's on me. That's on me. That's on me. So I only can blame myself. I only can blame myself. The third one is Mental Health America eliminating toxic influences. So according to that source, about 75% of men report having toxic friendships at some point, relationships that systematically undermine confidence, trigger shame. Recognizing a fake friend and setting boundaries isn't just emotional, it's therapeutic. Now let's jump into something. Let's jump into the spiritual aspect. So what if you had a great friend, loyal, all these things, but as you grow in your relationship with God or whatever, people gonna fall off. It'll be some people that probably will stay friends with you. It'll be another one who, they may join the walk with you, but it's gonna be many who mock. The Bible tells us that, right? So it's like if you're trying to grow, and what happens when this friend maybe jokingly or unintentionally brings up what you used to do? What happens when that happens? Because it will happen. They will bring up what you used to do, what you used to say, how you used to act. And you have to be offenseless. Made up a word. We're going to get to that later. It says an uphill battle while our midlife men struggling to make and keep friends. It says, according to The Guardian, men are in the midst of friendship recession and losing a homeboy amplifies loneliness, especially when vulnerability feels like weakness due to cultural stereotypes. Breaking away from a fake friend can force you to relearn how to trust. And even with that, that's where lust comes in. I saw something on video and it says that you don't have a lust issue, you have a loneliness issue. So a lot of times, if you probably ain't got no friends, all your friends fugazi, you lost them, you might be out here whoring and hooking to try to make up for that. And as society, it preaches that it's okay for a man to do that. But, we've all had our moments. You might be struggling with something, but I just say be careful because especially if you live in Houston, the STD rate is on the rise. So if you out here hooking and hoeing, please wrap it up because I can't tell you to stop because that's not going to make you want to do it more. But just do that. The final one, it says the PubMed, and this is the social undermining. It says, according to research on social undermining, friends that criticize, sabotage, or withhold support can significantly hamper your mental health, leading to stress, self-doubt, and isolation, sometimes even more than workplace negativity. Wow. Now, the thing with the workplace is you can always go home. With the friends, it's like this is in your real life, but you peep the shade, you peep how it is weird. Like, dang, why they repost their stuff? Why don't they repost mine up? Why do they go to this person's all their stuff, but they'll never go to my stuff? And why don't they even hit me with a congratulations, a good job? It's just kind of like, but then in the same breath, let's play devil's advocate again. What happens when you want to be supported, but it's hard for you to be supported because you are a little jealous, and it's not because you're a bad person, but you're a little jealous because it's like, dang, like they doing what I want to do and I can't do that, or I want to do what they doing. And a lot of it isn't that you can't, you have a discipline issue. So it ain't that you can't do it. It's just like I said, you struggle with discipline. But that's something y'all don't want to hear. You know what I mean? That's something you don't want to hear. If you just realize, what, dang, like if I just get myself together, I can do exactly what so-and-so is doing. I can do exactly what they doing. This one doing, that one doing. But see, you coming from a place of jealousy, and that'd be the problem. Ain't even got to be like that, twin. Ain't got to be like that. Ain't even got to be like that. All right, y'all. Let's jump into the final segment today. But this might be will it be the longest one? I don't know. Let's see. But let's jump into the final segment for the day, which is the weekly sabbatical. And in this segment, we know we kind of talk about some things. We bring it home and try to really add the spiritual aspect to it. So, the first thing, what about making amends after a fallout? That's something that happens. Again, I've been good with this episode of playing devil's advocate, right? And what about making amends? So now I have to tell another story about another friend. So this was a friend I met at a form of schooling. Me and him have been close since we met, and we still good friends today. We had an issue out of all the years. We had never fallen out, never really had a big argument, nothing like that. This friend had a big event. Now, also, this friend had another friend who also went to school with us, but we knew each other, but I always felt like that guy didn't like me based on things that he heard about me. And that's how I felt. And it's just the way he would act towards me. And so, because I think he was roommates with somebody that I had a physical altercation with. So, yeah. And just other stuff too, and just hearing stuff through the grapevine. So I think he didn't have the best worldview of me, even though we never got into it. So he always kept his distance. And honestly, because of how I am and things that have happened, there are many people who have kept their distance from me because of things that they heard, and then got to know me and was like, "You ain't nothing like that," or "You got your ways, but you're really not that bad." But I'm getting off topic. So this friend had a big event. I ain't gonna say what it was. It's gonna give it away. But he had a big event, and I was a part of it. And the other friend was part of it too, and there was other friends too. And he was a part of it, and we was all getting it together. Now, last minute, this one I still had a job. I couldn't take off. I mean, I really probably could have, but it just would have caused more hell because I had took off for being sick and some other stuff. It was a lot going on. And then I had started getting in trouble. And then the boss at the time I really liked. So it wasn't like, no, I don't care about you. I actually like this boss. I'm like, I can't. And the day of the event was a day where everyone else had off but me. So then on top of that, I was supposed to have a certain attire. And watch this. The shoes that I ordered for the event never came. And then the suit that I was gonna wear, I didn't get tailored in time. Now, worst case, I would have just had a Steve Harvey suit, but it was like little stuff that kept happening, like the shoes, all that stuff. So I ended up telling him, like, I don't think I'm gonna make it. And I told him last minute because I was actually in this event. So it was a big deal, and I did not make it. He was cool about it, so he said. And then me and this friend ended up, noticing after the big event, maybe 2 weeks or less, the guy who I told y'all about, he ended up unfollowing me on Instagram. So at first I thought, well, I'm a little nosy. So I went to him like, maybe he going on an unfollow spree. No, he just unfollowed me. Only me. So I'm like, now granted, what I missed, he does consider our mutual friend his best friend too. So I guess he felt offended by that I didn't show up. But if you know me, you know I did not show up because of I just didn't want to. I had a laundry list of reasons. And on top of that, I understood why the friend was mad. I understood why my homeboy was mad. But the other guy, I felt like he used that as an excuse. Because let's keep it 100. People use things as an excuse to stop dealing with you. So if you ready for a relationship to be over, somebody could slam the door too hard. You like, that's it, I'm done. I want no parts of you no more. And literally will cut them off for that. Be like, and then in their mind, you cut the door, you cut me off because I slammed the door. No, I cut you off because that was the final straw. So they was looking for a reason. In that situation, I always feel we've been on trips together. I always felt like Buddy ain't like me. So the friend who had this big event, it was weird for like a year. And I had reached out. He would act dry, but I understood why he was frustrated. So one day I looked up and I noticed he had unfollowed me on Instagram. So I don't know how I got to looking and I saw he unfollowed me. So naturally, originally, I unfollowed him back. I'm like, I ain't doing this with you. I don't care. I ain't did nothing to you. Something came over me and said, reach out. So I sent a text. I sent him a text. It didn't go through. I said, really? So I hit up his friend. I don't want to tell what it was. And I said, hey, what's up? Just checking in. Did my boy change his number? She was like, nah, it's the same number. I said, well, I reached out. He didn't respond. She said, interesting. She said, I'm going to let him know later. So later on, the dude calls me. He's real dry. He like, what's up, bro? I'm like explaining, like, I'm like, dang, bro. I said, I really apologize for that. I really, my situation really wasn't, that was a big deal. I wasn't not coming to because I couldn't. That really was a big deal. And I was just like, and just going through the ropes and just explaining because this is somebody that I considered a friend. And like I said, y'all, I had known him for about a good 12, 13 years. We never fallen out before. So I was just like, let me just see, I explained. He was kind of dry about it. And I was just like, well, I did all I could do. I ended up noticing later he would started back texting me regularly every so often, just checking in. And then eventually he hit me up like, I'm coming to Houston. So he came to Houston and we was all out. This is one of my drinking spells. And I was drinking. I said, don't ever do that again. He was like, bro, I hadn't talked to you in over a year. I said, every time I reached out, you had an attitude. And I told him, I said, but let me tell you something. Your reason for being mad was valid. You were not, that was not, you had every right to be. But you just have to understand, all I can do is apologize. I can't change it. And so we've been good since then. So there are some times where you might need to make amends because he's never been a hater. When they was lying on me, he stood beside me. He even jokingly said one time in school, and like, I'm the only real friend you got. And to be honest, he probably wasn't lying. Let's go to the Bible. In 1 Samuel, we talk about David and Jonathan's friendship. There are many friendships in the Bible. But one thing that Jonathan did was he warned David that his father, King Saul, was plotting to kill him. So despite being heir to the throne, he chose loyalty over allegiance to his father. Now, some people might say I'm picking his blood over blood thicker than water, but that friendship was so strong that he was able to say, my daddy did wrong. I got to let you know what's about to happen, twin. Then in 1 Samuel 20:16-17, they renewed the covenant of friendship, and Jonathan risked his life to secretly alert David of danger. So Jonathan, we need us a Jonathan. Let's get us a friend as a Jonathan, because clearly they're the best friends you could have. Clearly. Let's go into some things. So according to UGA Wesley Foundation, Jonathan David Christ-like friendship. Jonathan showed loyalty, sacrifice, and spiritual support. He risked everything to support and protect David. From the well-watered woman, be a Jonathan, it says Jonathan reminded David of God's promise that true friend doesn't compete, they cover and encourage. So look at that. Does your friend compete with you, or do they cover and encourage? And encourage, not compare. That ain't a word. Elizabeth George, what can we learn from David and Jonathan? Their friendship was marked by covenant, loyalty, and selflessness. Jonathan gave up his position for David. Would a person give up their position for a friend? Most people won't even tell their job no when their daughter got a dance recital. So you think they finna show up for their friend? Probably not. And then it says, fixing eyes, friendship in the Bible. Their friendship was rooted in covenant and faith. Jonathan encouraged David even when it cost him everything. This from Midwest Church. So now we done went through a lot of the signs, and I got some more sources, and I was going over the last few things for the day, which basically like, is this friend somebody you might need to let go? Because it's somebody, I'm telling you, listening to this, you like, we need to let this go because it's toxic and you enjoy it, but you deep down know that ain't your friend. And you know that ain't your friend. You got to wonder, it's not. Eliminating toxic influences. So according to Mental Health America, if someone constantly manipulates or disrespects you, or even subtly, you should establish either boundaries or remove them entirely. Emotional abuse via friendships is common. 75% of men reports, and distancing yourself improves mental and physical health. And for some reason, I said this once and I say it again. When I stop talking, everybody hears me. Now, going back to that original friend who I told y'all who made the comments about the acting thing, right? He's made comments like that before. I actually have had a conversation with him about things I didn't like. And I remember stating, I said, and I told him, I said, everything I do is not wrong. I said, everything y'all bring up about me is negative. It's never right. And I think they internalize, we just won't say it. We still think it, but we just won't say it. And that don't work for me because that's not happening. So it's like, we know that's you know. Why toxic people are so harmful. So according to Psychology Today, toxic people disrespect boundaries, drain your energy, and often provoke hypervigilance or low self-worth. When attempts to set boundaries fail, it's healthy to reduce or eliminate contact. Same thing. Calm blog 10 signs you're in a toxic friendship and how to end it. Calm identifies signs like ongoing guilt trips, emotional exhaustion, and disrespect. If the pattern persists and communication does not help, gradually fully disengage. Now, emotional exhaustion is one we really didn't talk about. Have you ever been around somebody and it's something always wrong with them? Like every time you get around them, something wrong with them. Something is wrong with them. I think of Eeyore off of Winnie the Pooh. You're hanging with an Eeyore. These are the signs you hanging with the Eeyore. For those that don't know what Eeyore is off Winnie the Pooh, that was that donkey that was always depressed. And again, we don't make fun of depression. Depression and mental health issues and mental illnesses are very real. But in some of y'all are be depressed on y'all own because y'all be making yourself depressed. Every time you talk to them, it's a beautiful day outside. Well, it could be better. Oh man, I just think you got a nice outfit on. That is real nice. Well, I don't have the right shoes I wanted to wear. Hey, you've been losing weight. You look a little smaller. Well, I've been depressed. I ain't really been eating much. All right. Okay. It's always something with you. It's always something. And I can't stand a critic. That's another thing. Have you ever noticed somebody that always finds something wrong with something? Usually those people are insecure. And let me also add something. This ain't about this, but I'm gonna add it. I don't care how good they look. The most insecure people are the best looking people. They are the most insecure. And don't let me, and I'm telling you, I'm cool with being medium ugly or medium fine, depending on the day. But see, them beautiful people that's universally attractive, they are insecure. And also they be having a lot of problems. But we'll say that for another day. When to end a friendship for your mental health. Restore mental health. It says the blog recommends evaluating whether friendship still feels safe and authentic. If not, especially when guilt, fear, or habit holds you in, you're allowed to walk away. And then letting go of toxic people, 5 steps to reclaim your life from headway. It recommends a respectful breakup, state your reasons, set firm boundaries, refuse to re-engage. I'm indifferent with that because some people not gonna hear you know it. Some people you have to literally just run for the hills, bullseye. You gotta run away and not look back. Because you're gonna do like in the Bible and turn to a pillar of salt. If you look back, don't look back. When the Lord set you free, don't go back to what broke you. Question or challenge for the week. What are you gonna do now about that fake homeboy? This has been a fun one. I enjoy these episodes, and I feel this was therapeutic for me. So I'm excited to see what's gonna happen with this episode as it drops tomorrow. Well, it's out now, but this was a good one, and I really hope it's really got a lot of engagement. There was a lot of stuff here. All right, y'all. Thank you again for tuning in. We love y'all here. I know y'all love me. PSA signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And remember, as always, I love us for real.